Hello everyone, I'm ImKibitz and welcome back to Satisfactory, where last time we harvested all of the resources in the world. Or at least pretty much whatever's left. Because we need everything in order to finish up the game and complete the final space elevator parts. So all the water is now allocated, resources are centralized, and today we're gonna finally start some production. Kind of. Technically it's a little bit of resource collection. Technically, it's a little bit of production because we're messing with converters. Because yes, we have collected up all the resources, but we don't have enough copper left in the world to finish up our projects. Because Past Kib's got a little ambitious with nuclear pasta, what can I say? So we literally have to make our own copper. Now with a converter, you can change resources from one to another, even up to like uranium. You can make bauxite, nitrogen, or in our case, we want the copper ore, which we can only make out of sulfur or quartz. But here's the thing, and why converters are my favorite thing. You can also make sulfur. You can also make quartz. So with enough SAM, you can really get away with some pretty crazy shenanigans. Converting iron to sulfur, sulfur to copper, copper to, I guess bauxite. And then from bauxite, you could even make more uranium. But here's the kicker, and one of my favorite things with converters. Somers loops work in converters. You know what that means? It means you can have a little bit of a resource spiral going on. Or say, for example, you're making a bunch of coal, okay? Which takes limestone. And well, you can make limestone out of sulfur, and you can make sulfur out of coal. And then once you start adding in the Somers loops, the feedback loop is interesting. And so before we get started with our main projects today, I want to show you something. This little setup over here, where it takes SAM ore and turns that into power shards. That's it. Ore to power shards, one simple system. It's actually based on a post I saw in the Satisfactory subreddit by Mel Swift, where they figured out how to take SAM and do this entire process. And it's incredible. And how it works is your SAM goes into the system to make coal. And kind of like I showed before, you use the coal to make sulfur, sulfur to make limestone, and the limestone to make more coal. And because you're using the Somers loops all over the place, you get resources out the wazoo. And with all that coal, you can use that to convert into quartz. And the quartz can become quartz crystals and then be used in power shard creation. Check one. The coal can also be used to make diamonds, albeit slowly, but then the diamonds can be converted into time crystals, and that's step two. Dark matter crystals? Well, they're pretty straightforward. You take the reanimated SAM used to create all of your different materials, and you use that directly to make dark matter residue, and you just pipe that into another particle accelerator to make the crystals, and that's step three done, and the excited photonic matter is made out of thin air. And the best part is the byproduct, the dark matter residue you get from making power shards. This has to be re-looped in to the dark matter crystal production, and that is it. You're done. Unlimited free power shards by just inputting SAM into the system. Now, does this take an obscene amount of power? Yes. Do you have to use a bunch of Somers loops? For sure. And is the system horrifically slow? Absolutely. But come on, for the low price of 12 SAM per minute? Bro, what a deal. And one of the many reasons I love converters. And if you want to use this system yourself, I organized it into two blueprints. So this Mel Shard Part 1 and 2. You need a Mark III blueprint maker, but you just put Part 1 down, then Part 2 beside it, and then you have everything you need pretty much to make the power shards. The quantum encoders do not fit in the blueprint maker, so you'll have to set this one up yourself there. But in using the blueprint, all you have to do is connect these two blueprints together via a couple belts, then all of the inputs into the quantum encoder. Then the last thing is just to get the byproduct dark matter residue back into the initial system. Everything's labeled, everything's good, the pipes are solid, system is done. Just gotta feed the beginning the SAM, make sure all the power is connected, and then over time, you will have unlimited power shards. And frankly, speaking from experience, once you have like 3 industrial storage containers full of power shards, you're probably not gonna need any more, okay? At which point, you can clear out the whole system and you're done. And like usual, the blueprints are available on Patreon. And thank you, Mel Swift, actually, for doing the math on this one. It's a lot of fun putting this all together and trying to figure it all out. But all right, we're back in reality. Need to get the copper. And we need about 2,000 per minute. Now we could use quartz, or we could use sulfur. Now quartz, I kinda got a use for. Because once it's quartz crystals, we can make that into crystal oscillators, radio control units, and the whole enchilada. So our other option might work out better, using sulfur. Because with sulfur, the big deal with it is to make compacted coal and sulfuric acid. Oh, and I guess batteries if you want to do that. Oh, and uranium cells. Oh, and turbo fuel, I guess. Okay, there's actually a lot you can do with sulfur. But the big thing is, for my calculations, and for what we have to do left in the space elevator, we actually don't really need that much sulfur. In fact, there's even some nodes that are left unclaimed pretty much, hidden throughout the world. Including even a pure node, which is 1,200 sulfur per minute. And that much sulfur translates into that much copper. It's a 1-to-1. And all we gotta do is provide the precious purple lunchboxes. And what's even better is if push comes to shove, we could always make more sulfur out of iron. And we got plenty of iron. So I like this plan. And let's just double check how much we need. So we have 2,400 copper left in the world, and we need about 4,200. Okay, so that's like what, 1,600? Oh, 1,806, brr. And you know, if it's 1,806, we may as well just go for 2,000 copper, am I right? Play it a little safe. And how we're gonna go about this is, since the sulfur is on the literal exact opposite side of the world, we are going to bring the sulfur over to our main base, centralize it there, and do all of the conversion up on the higher floors. In fact, it's something I've been meaning to do for a long time. See, the top floor of our base is actually just been waiting for this project for maybe over a year. Yeah, like up at the very tippy top, it's kind of just a mess. I brought all of our aluminum up here. We have some extra rubar that we're gonna be using. That's just being sunk for now. And the rest of the area is kind of just for, I don't know, mucking around. So we can finally start finishing up the main base here and finally completing it. But okay, before we get started, we gotta try this out. This is one of my favorite things to use on my live streams. Essentially, I have this like death redemption for if people watch the streams long enough. And this is one of the ways in which I like to die. It is the KSP, the Kib Space Program. And it works exactly how you would expect it to work. It's about 80 hypertube cannons launched in one direction.
Your subscription to the function of any and all fix-it property expires the moment it leaves its designated zone.
Yeah, subscription ended. But yeah, that's about 80 hypertube entrances, thrusting me directly vertical up into the space elevator. Good time. Hold up, phasing through. There's two things I always like to test with the cannon here. Do we hit the top of the world? A, doesn't look like it today, we're falling. But then B is how far are we gonna bounce? Or a legendary hole-in-one, where we land beside our base directly into the void pit. That'd be so cool. And it's looking good. At this point, I'd be like, any believers in chat? I hope not, because I was patently wrong. But now how high will we bounce? Terminal velocity? And we didn't bounce at all. Sad. We're just busting a move. That's a new one. And now we are so back. And I guess we should get to work. Like for the last month, I was gathering up resources in the Dune Desert, so I don't want to gather up more, but we have to. We gots to do it. All right, so first target is we are going to grab the sulfur that's just on the hill right in front of us. We're going to belt that to some existing infrastructure. Then I suppose we could just add on a train car over here. And then yeah, it looks like we have all this belt work and power that's just scooting over that way. I think it was for an old project where we're making like time crystals with the coal over there. I don't know. But now we're going that way for 2 impure sulfur nodes. I know, a man of my talents going after impure sulfur nodes. How sad, but I am desperate. I need it. But Kibz, why don't you redirect some copper away from your nuclear pasta facility? You don't need to be making 60 of it per minute. Burr, 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 burr. How dare you? Do not touch my pasta. The pasta is eternal. And overall, this isn't actually looking too bad. Oh my gosh, I was so wrong. Why did that other sulfur node have to be way down there? Ugh. Like, to be frank, I don't actually mind setting up infrastructure. It's just been too much. But at least it does look cool. And the other nice thing is there's existing stuff to work off of. Like with the desert, when I didn't have any infrastructure at all pretty much, that was a whole 9 yards. But here it's just like, oh, we got a train around here. We'll bring it over, it'll be fine. Now that is 600 sulfur secured. Next step is more sulfur and also SAM. We have lots of SAM already at our main base. We've collected it from all over the world, but I need literally all of the SAM because it is so valuable. Like, we could make it into power shards, we could make it into more uranium, more bauxite. Well, we have to make it into more bauxite, actually. Ton of other stuff. And then I also remembered, hey, there's a sulfur node right over here. Another impure node, I think. You, Billy. Impure again. I see why I left these behind. Yeah, we have another node over this way that we can just attach to this belt highway and bring back to the main base. And at the same time, there is a SAM node underneath the Great Arch here, which I just brought to like here and then did nothing with because that was a future Kibs problem and I'm future Kibs now. It's okay. Past Kibs was busy setting up all of this iron and I can understand why he didn't want to belt over some random resources. Yeah, you see, future and past Kibs, we got an arrangement going. Or I help out once in a while. And then once I feel I've done enough, I leave things to future Kibs, who will figure out where the SAM and sulfur is gonna go. Even though I do already know it has to go to like the top of our base, I just don't wanna bring it upstairs right now. Because we only have 900 sulfur. We need the rest. We need that pure node. But it's gonna be tricky because it's just in a very, very weird spot. Like, our base is right there, okay? Well, we could drone things over, but it's 1,200 resources per minute. Like, we'd have to have at least, I don't know, at least 2 drones to move that much material. Plus there's fuel. Yeah, I don't think so. We have our main train line right to the left. Could just have a chew, take things out and around, right to there. Easy peasy. But then we need another train station in the main base. So unfortunately, I think we're gonna go with option 3. We're gonna bring a belt of sulfur underneath this train track, through this giant copper processing pit here, up through this belt highway, and over into the main base that way. Yeah, but at least we get to revisit here, right? Yippee. And it's a good opportunity to show off some of my favorite belting tricks, some old, some new. I'm sure most of you know about the infinite height conveyor lift trick, where normally with a conveyor lift, they can only go so high, right? However, if you have the conveyor lift pointed towards the conveyor lift floor hole, and you are careful enough, you can have conveyor lifts go as high as you want. That didn't connect. My bad, skill issue. There we go, easy peasy. And then for my last little trick is I have started to embrace a little tiny bit of clipping. I know. This is ImKibitz in 2026. I'm a new man, following my rule of cool in a different way. Where if we have a belt that goes up towards kind of a conveyor floor hole, and I have like a bit of a transition here, I'm okay transitioning this belt directly through a cliff or something. That way I don't have to dodge like all this cliffside stuff or make like a really weird stack. No, we can just go boop through the terrain. I don't know, maybe to there for now. Plop down a brick and do our best to make it look aesthetic as possible. Like something like this. Of course we have to get everything like aligned and whatever. But generally speaking, I think that looks pretty good. Instead of having like a belt that like goes around the lip of the cliff and all that jazz, it's a bit much. This is the general idea. I think I'll move this around quite a bit though. You know how it is. Gotta keep the rule of cool forever. Moving things around, that's much better. Didn't want the belt clipping through 2 cliffs. That's a bit much. So it goes back this way, clips through this little bit, and then I was able to line things up properly so it looks like this on top. And I'm like, wow, cool. To a little logistics box, the node, and that is 1,200 sulfur per minute available to us, except I now have to belt that all the way back to our main base. But on the other hand, it's almost a historic moment. This might be the last resource we ever have to gather for the rest of the playthrough. Like, there's nothing left. We got it all. But okay, for real, this better be one of the last things we have to gather, because or at least, give me a couple weeks before we have to gather more resources, okay? Good news is, it's over. Resources are in the base, and they just have to be brought upstairs here. So for real this time, gotta clean up the mess. I love you, KSP. You were of great service and entertainment for many, many years. But alas, we will have to move you 5 feet away somewhere else. And then what is all this? Oh, the precious purple lunchboxes. Over the last couple of videos, there's a little hiccup over at the nuclear power plant, so I just needed a couple of these really quick. And then over here is all of our beams. Steel beams, actually made out of aluminum. So aluminum beams? Yeah. I'm pretty sure this is for like the Starforge or something. Either way, goodbye, pieces of history. We're not going with the old saying will not hold. What even is the old saying again? The most permanent thing is a temporary solution? Something like that. Nope, not here, bud. But okay, things are cleaned, resources brought up, and I've also set up some walls I have no idea. I just needed to set up some walls, need to figure some things out. You have a blank canvas, it's hard to work with. It's also hard to work in this video game because there's like a stutter going on. I don't know why. Okay, well, I have some idea why, but you know what? I can't really do much about this right now. Right now, we gotta set up some converters. So the goal is to make 2,000 copper out of sulfur, right? So that is, yeah, 1 to 1, and it's 120 per machine. Fully overclock these bad boys, that's 300 per machine, that's not bad. So that's about 7 converters, okie dokie. And 7 times 25 for the SAM, 7 times 25. 175 SAM. I didn't really think about the SAM part of this. How much SAM are we gonna be using? Like, we have all the SAM in the world, right? Overclocking is pretty irrelevant, but regardless, we want to use our loops here, and we end up with 150 SAM? Really? 300 for 150? You see this belt here? That is 600 SAM per minute. I kinda would like to run 2 of these constructors. I think that would work out great. And then if we only had 150 SAM though, for this whole project, does this math kind of check out? That times 2,000? 1,700? That doesn't look right. Or wait, no, wait a second. 150 divided by 25. Oh, 6. Easy. And that's 1,800 copper. I'm pretty sure that's enough, right? Yeah. Okay, good. So here's the deal then. We will use one of our existing blueprints in our great folder here with these raised converters, and we'll just set up a centralized room in our main base here. Because I don't know exactly what I'm gonna be doing with the rest of the build, I really need to leave options for future kibs. So for now, we'll make a central room and work around it. And this isn't looking too bad at all. I'm pretty sure I've booped projects much larger than this in like 2 seconds flat. The only thing is, can we fit in the constructors? Technically, yes, like here. I'm thinking for the hallways we have around our base, we'd want a little bit of room, at least 2 tiles. We'd have 1 tile for like logistics and belts and stuff like that, like here. And then this tile would be for moving and grooving ourselves, just walking. Then we'll want 3 tiles in front, so we can look upon the rows and rows of converters that we end up building with a big aesthetic view. Good idea, Mr. Kibbs. Thank you, Mr. Kibbs. And I just have to set up the recipes, do the belt work, and we are practically done. Inputs are just down here. A to B, C to D. Rest of the alphabet insert here. Outputs out this way. Then we bring the whole show downtown over here, where we'll figure out what to do later. It's actually something I'm debating in my head right now. Big thing is we could actually make copper ingots at our main base, just with this recipe here. Like, I actually brought up a ton of water pipes earlier, so we could do that, but then technically that expands the resource. It's like 15 to 37.5. And at the end of the day, we have to transport everything from over here to like the other side of the world over here. And yeah, lots to hum and haw about. In the meantime, yeah, no, we'll just bring all the copper to here and I'll finish this up. Cool? Not cool. Not cool at all. I can't believe I've done this to myself. Look, all this booping and whatever I've been doing throughout this video has been hours in between gathering up silly resources and whatnot, and you know what I forgot? That 1,800 copper ore is not going to suffice. Do you know why? Let me show you. Back at Project Hoos, where on our board, it says we need 4,206. 4,206 minus the 2,400 that already exists in the world is 1,806. 1,806. So for making 1,800, we still need more. And I'm pretty sure earlier in this video, I said I should have made 2,000. I'm fine. I'm fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's not fine. It's terribly not fine because now I have to expand these blueprints over to here, and I've already built this wall and infrastructure around this wall, but now this wall has to go and I have to expand everything. It's wait a second. Wait a second. We can just boop it. Okay, that took a little tick off the sandy meter, but it's fine. It actually is fine. Just move the wall over here. And the big thing is I have this cool little like U-jelly pit that goes back down to like the main floor of my main base, and we didn't have to build over it. That's the main thing. So the system is set up, the sulfur is being loaded, the purple lunch boxes are prepared and ready to go, and we now have our 2,000 copper ore per minute ready and waiting for future projects. We should make more nuclear pasta. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. A little bit. But no, we shouldn't make more copper. I'm happy we're done this, but you know, we're here. We got like all these resources. In fact, we're making all of the precious purple lunch boxes, and we're not using them all for this project, right? We have a 600 belt coming in here, and it's making 300 reanimated SAM per minute. So we could use the rest of that for another project I'd be mean to get to. Another resource we have horribly run out of, or at least we will run out of it once we start actually using the rest of these ingots, is aluminum. That's right, the aluminum gonna be used for fused modular frames and aluminum casings and all this other jazz. So all that you see in front of you, that is accounted for. We are going to have to make more bauxite and more aluminum. Okay, last time. And the only way, do we make more copper? No, I'm kidding. No, we need to make more bauxite. We could technically use copper, but I've planned around using caterium. We're gonna be using caterium ore to make more bauxite, and then later on, we're gonna be using it to make more fixite, but that's not for today. No, I just want this bauxite here. And knowing past Kibs, he has the material just on a belt here. No, okay. Just on a train down here. Yes. Okay, there's 1,200 caterium per minute. I'm sure there's plenty more just beneath us. But how much caterium do we actually need for this project? The big number here is we need 1,500 bauxite, which means, I have no idea. 1,500 divided by 120, 12.5 converters. 12.5 times 150 is 1,875 doohickeys. Just means I have to find a casual 700-ish caterium more. And yeah, for sure, there is absolutely a train bringing that in, right? There's caterium right there. Oh, those are ingots though. I don't want ingots, I need the ore. Got another train down this way. Ooh, with more caterium, perfect. So I just drag that out, and along the sides of this huge pit here, I have these logistics spires. So I'll just bring all the resources up to the top floor, and then just copy and paste what we just built. So in go our purple lunch boxes and our wonderful caterium, and with a little bit of load balancing to make sure each system runs properly. By the power of science, we get bauxite. Wonderful. By the way, this is 8 of the converters, just because I overclock things, right? That divided by 2.5. Technically, we only needed 5 converters, but I just did some chicanery with the clock speeds. Main thing is, we got all the goods. Bauxite is secured. And since we don't have a major plan for the rest of the base here, I'm just gonna do some very light decorations to encase all of the machines. So yeah, kind of just threw all the machines into like a warehouse structure inside my main base while we figure out the rest of what's going on around here. It's not too bad. Painted everything black, added in some asphalt floors just to fit with the theme and the vibes. And then later on, once we actually have proper ideas about things, maybe we can add in some more lights, some more signs, the whole enchilada. But right now, we're just gonna leave it like this and call it a day. But before we do, I have something exciting to show you. I've built a new diorama just like the one we built for our nuclear power plant. And so this is our next journey to finish up Satisfactory, the video game, where we have to make these biochemical sculptors, some AI expansion servers, and then finally, the ballistic warp drives. And all these machines represent different factories and processes that we have to set up in order to complete the end goal. And today, we finished up step 1, which is collecting up all of the resources. So we kind of did this last time, but the raw stuff here, done. Coal, sand, sulfur, done. And now, the copper, complete. As for the bauxite, I kinda included it as an aluminum thing, but you know what? No. This was a big step. We completed it. And I want my check mark. Our journey of 1,000 steps has begun, and we are on our way. So if you're excited for what's in store, remember to subscribe for more. And until then, I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, and bye-bye.